think we better cool our heads, too. The receipt's definitely a big clue for figuring out how Father disappeared. We should tell the police about it when they come.
That's right. Right. I just felt a little triumphant when I figured out that part of the receipt. Of course, it isn't fair to only suspect Natsume-san, right? We're just as suspicious. But still, Battler-kun, at least the part about the receipt is real, okay? Don't forget it. And try thinking deeply about what it means one more time, okay?
Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi stood up. It looked like they planned on leaving the parlor.
In the end, it's pointless for us to keep playing detectives. After all, the police will reveal everything anyway.
That's right. Even if we don't play this detective game, the typhoon will pass. And when those lively seagulls return to the harbor, everything will settle itself. That's right. If you think about it, this kind of crime is completely trivial. It will definitely be resolved. Even if we do nothing. When the seagulls cry. Roll credits! That's how this game's gonna end too, right? I'm gonna finish fucking episode 8 and all of a sudden you're gonna hear seagulls fucking cawing again. You're like, oh, the seagulls, they're crying. The story is over.
Natsume-san, I take you don't want to see my face anymore. I feel the same. If I remember correctly yesterday, you had some rooms prepared for us in the mansion so that we wouldn't need to go back to the guest house, right? Those should each have a bath and a toilet as well, as a lock and a chain to secure the door. There's even a bed to lie on, and my husband will be able to watch TV without having to fight with Maria-chan over which channel to watch, right? Do whatever you want, but make sure to be cautious. Thank you, Ne-san. And mind your own business. I'll be counting on you to keep an eye on everyone, okay? Because the culprit is definitely here. And Ne-san, make sure you don't forget to keep an eye on yourself, too. Have you finished taking your parting shots? Yes, I'm finished. See you, Natsume-san. Genji-san, let us know when it's time for dinner. Until then, we'll lock ourselves in with the chain. Genji, Kanon, escort them to the guest room. We'll be fine. I hate shady escorts. In fact, it'd be more comfortable if nobody leaves this room until we reach ours. Let's go, George.
I'll stay here with everyone.
George, the culprit is in this room. Do you plan on staying in a place like that?
Leaving this room would be the same as suspecting one of my relatives. I can't believe anyone in our family is capable of something that horrible.
George, darling, you tell him to.
George is already an adult man. If his code tells him not to leave this room, then it's up to him. Let him do what he wants. Father. Good. My man George. Love to see it. Tell your mom to get fucked.
God. Yes.
I'm still holding out hope that, you know, like, it seems like Ava and Hideyoshi being the two that are close is, like, the obvious answer, so therefore it shouldn't be the right answer. But God, I'm holding out hope. There are no two motherfuckers in this goddamn story right now I want to see torn apart more than those two. Oh my God. In any way, shape, or form. I'm not even talking physically anymore. Physically, mentally, metaphorically, emotionally, whatever the fuck. However the fuck. Tear them apart in any fucking way, shape, or form you see fit. Because, oh my God, I just want to see them suffer. Just a little bit. Like, having Ava get her comeuppance from Battler, that was nice. I loved it. More. But just, I need more. I need more than just that. I need more than just that. I need this bitch to really get put in her place. Not just for a brief moment. I need her to really get fucking knocked down a peg. Just a big ol' fuck you sandwich. Alright? Anyway. The only voice that called after them was the sound of the rain. The parlor was being buried beneath the savage atmosphere. When I looked at the clock, I was surprised to find that it was already evening. Had we really spent that much time worrying about needless things, talking with each other, fighting with each other? Feeling bored, I started scratching my head when Maria and I made eye contact. Oh God. I was a little surprised, since I thought she was completely immersed in the TV. I believe it now. The letter, the murders, everything.
It was all Beatrice. In fact, I almost feel like begging her to come out and take credit for it all. I want it to be the work of the 19th person. Otherwise, the 18 of us will have to keep suspecting each other. I think believing in a 19th person is better than that. Being grandfather outside without opening the doors or windows must be a piece of cake for Beatrice, right? Maria, after taking a single short breath, hung her head, then raised her face again.
That's right. Locking a door is useless against a witch. Beatrice is familiar with all 72 demons. The 33rd ranked Gop gives the power to instantly carry the desired person to any location. To her, taking a person out of any closed room isn't hard at all, you see.
Witches sure are incredible. Tell her, if she feels like committing another crime, to do it in a way that no human could. Make me believe that a 19th person, no, a witch, exists.
Okay. If I meet her, I'll tell her.
Oh, God. Ooh. Crap. Nothing's made sense to me for a while now. Just when I want to believe in a 19th person, I deny it. Just when I want to believe there are only 18 people, I deny that too. Even though I want there to be more than just the 18 people here, I can't accept the existence of that 19th person. In short, even though there are more than 18 people, there are less than 19 people. What? Excuse me? The number of people in this mansion is less than 19 but greater than 18. So the number of people can't be represented by an integer. What? However, it's impossible for there to be anything after the decimal point. You shouldn't be able to show the number of people without anything but an integer. Yeah. And yet, 19, less than 19 greater than 18. How do you explain the fraction less than 1? It's no wonder. The 19th person was something that couldn't be seen. That's why, since you can only write the number of people as an integer, you couldn't see that person. That witch cannot be seen, because Beatrice has no body. Therefore, she is invisible. Is there a 19th person, or not? Does the witch exist, or not? Less than 19, greater than 18. The witch exists somewhere in that X.
Okay. 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 I don't know how to feel about everything that's going down, my man. Oh. This shit's terrifying. I just want Nazi to be okay. That's all I care about.
The uncomfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. I was thick with the idea that simply thinking about the culprit's identity would be the same as deciding whom to suspect. It had begun to feel like discussion of the case was itself taboo. So no one mentioned the case, at least out loud. However, those thoughts were what filled our minds. All that we couldn't say aloud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. So at least on the outside, the parlor had once again regained its calm mood. Everything was left unsettled. It feels like the rain's gotten a little lighter.
Still pouring down.
Even if it did stop, there's no boat on this island. But it'd be nice if the boat came quickly tomorrow. I've had enough of this Western Mansion vacation.
Mom, when will the boat come tomorrow?
Normally the boat to take them back would arrive at 3 o'clock today. They probably sent us a phone call to say they would come after the typhoon passed, but unfortunately the phones aren't working. But they aren't children over there. They were told to both drop off and collect our guests, so they will most likely arrive first thing tomorrow morning. Probably about 9 o'clock, I believe. It was completely black outside. When I looked at the clock, I realized that it was just past 7. I was starting to get hungry. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was cooking enthusiastically. She had laid out a variety of dishes. While they didn't match the level of Goda's artful cooking, they were still quite gorgeous. It was an act of kindness from Kumasawa, who was trying to enliven everyone's low spirits with some food. Kumasawa wasn't nearly as talented as a professional cook like Goda, but she was far from unskilled. On the contrary, since she had been brought up in a fishing village, the simple food she created was sometimes highly praised. Kanon arranged the food Kumasawa had finished,
creating on our had arranged the food Kumasawa had finished creating on plates under her direction. Kanon also helped in the kitchen sometimes, but since he was rarely placed in that role, he was slightly awkward, even though he tried his best. Self-conscious about the fact that he couldn't cleverly arrange the food, Kanon's expression darkened slightly. But Kumasawa smiled as though everything was fine.
Oh, it's arranged beautifully. Kanon-kun, aren't you skilled?
If it had been Shannon-san, it would look even more beautiful. Kanon stopped arranging the food for a bit and hung his head. Shannon was the one who always assisted Kumasawa in her cooking. Tonight, Kanon was doing it instead. And as he remembered Shannon's face and her brutal end, he grimaced. Forget that for now. Genji spoke kindly to Kanon as he advanced to pawn. Nanjo had escaped from the parlor once the mood had grown sour, and Genji had become his opponent in a game of chess upon Nanjo's request. Yes, I will forget it for now. Indeed. That is probably for the best. Genji purposely refrained from facing Kanon as he spoke. He did so because he understood that it might make things tougher on Kanon if he noticed that someone was looking at his eyes. Ah, I get it. Nanjo also understood that and held back any thoughtless words.
I wonder where Kinzo-san has gone. I hope that he's safe, but...
I do not know. However, I believe everything has proceeded as the master had hoped and arranged for. To distrust that would exceed my role as furniture in service to the master.
Aren't you scared, Genji-san? I'm frightened that something bad will occur again tonight.
Of course it will. You fucking idiots. Read the epitaph. How has no one fucking mentioned the epitaph in any fucking capacity? Even though y'all have mentioned several times, it's like, oh, this culprit wants us to find the gold. Well, a key part of that is the epitaph. So wouldn't you think, like, let's read this epitaph. Like, let's just give it a once-over. Just a quick read. And you'll see the line like, oh, the first twilight, 6 will be sacrificed for the key, or whatever, or however it's worded. And you're like, wait, 6 will be sacrificed? There's 6 people dead in that tool shed. Huh. Maybe that's a fucking connection there or something, right? And then maybe you start thinking, you start reading more of that, and then you can just, like, you know, I don't know, maybe predict the next fucking moves. I mean, at the very least, you could attempt to predict the next move. Because, yeah, from the third twilight on to the last, like, there's really no way to know. Because on the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. So that gives you some kind of, you know, insight. Something to look towards. It's like, okay, the two that are close. You can actually make guesses there. On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. That doesn't really tell you anything. I'm guessing no one's going to die on the third twilight. Oh. So, yeah, Battler just asked Maria, is like, if you, you know, see Beatrice again, tell her to, you know, commit the crime in a way that, you know, only a witch could do it, that a human could never do. So on the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. If in the case that this epitaph is about Beatrice herself, then that means on the third twilight they'll have no choice but to accept that Beatrice exists after they see this next crime. So those who remain shall praise my noble name. They'll have no choice but to admit that she exists. And then, yeah, the fourth twilight through the eighth is just gouge the head, gouge the chest, gouge the stomach, gouge the knee, gouge the leg. Like, that doesn't tell you who's gonna die. It's like, that's what's gonna happen. And then on the ninth twilight, the witch shall revive, none shall be left alive. On the 10th twilight, at Journey's End, you will attain the power of the Golden Knight's treasures, once and for the last time. Okay. 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 Okay, back to the game. I have nothing to be afraid of. I serve the Ushiromiya family, and that is all. Nanjo sighed through his nose and made a carefully considered move. Nanjo was very slightly dubious. Very slightly? How are you both very and slightly? Are you... I'm sorry, what? Wouldn't that just... Isn't that kind of like a double knight? It just cancels out, you know? Very slightly. So Nanjo was just dubious. He was like more than slightly, but less than very. So it's like, Nanjo was dubious. Like, I very slightly is kind of... That's an oxymoron, isn't it? Like, just... It's very dubious, but at the same time, he's slightly dubious. He's not just slightly dubious, he's very slightly dubious, alright? I'm sorry, that one line just is so fucking stupid. Could Genji possibly be thinking that he'd be left out of this? Nope. He just doesn't fear death. He trusts the plan. He couldn't even imagine what was happening inside this mansion. But he definitely couldn't deny the possibility that Kinzo had devised something. Yes. If you liken this island to chess, Kinzo had opened the game, and as a result, 6 pieces have been defeated. Could it be that Genji was calm because he believed he alone was on the outside of the chessboard, and therefore safe? Nope. Nanjo thought about it. Isn't everyone just a piece on this chessboard, lined up equally without any exceptions? Wasn't even Genji, who had gained more of Kinzo's trust than anyone. No, who was confident of his position as Kinzo's only close friend. Just another one of the pieces laid out on the chessboard.
Genji-san, I'm truly frightened about tonight. I hope with all my heart that we will still be safe when tomorrow morning comes.
We will not be. And he doesn't respond. Yeah, that sounds about right. The guest room Eva and Hideyoshi moved into had originally been built to house guests before the guest house construction. So until a few years ago, they had stayed in these rooms every family conference and were very familiar with them. This room was just like a room at a hotel, with a bedroom and a bathroom. So even though they were still shut in, it was far more comfortable than the parlor.
Yes, it's true, you can relax more when you're alone with your family. Maybe it'd be better if everyone else shut themselves in guest rooms and locked the doors.
Natsune-san said that no one could leave the parlor, throwing her weight around. I'm sure no one will be able to talk back. She's always been treated so coldly, so now that Nissan's dead, she's getting excited about finally having so much power. Good, she deserves it. Seriously, how shameless can she be? Bitch, you want to talk shameless. I oughta... Bitch. Nah, Natsu deserves to be winning, which she isn't truly winning right now. Why is my fucking Streamlabs frozen? Apparently Streamlabs has had enough of Eva and Hideyoshi as well, alright? Streamlabs said, yeah, no, I don't want to fucking be recording these assholes anymore. You know what? I understand, but listen, I got a job to do here, Streamlabs, so please. Bear with me here, alright? If I have to bear it, so do you. Goddamn. Anywho.
Come now, don't say that. Natsu-san's doing pretty well. No need to jump on her like that. Man, about that receipt earlier. You went too far.
Come on. Oh, is this them being torn apart? They're having a discussion now, and he's like,
Listen, Ava, you were kind of a bitch.
come on. If I hadn't said it there wouldn't be another good time to say it. Ava, sulking cutely and looking at the television, sat along Hideyoshi, who was lying on the bed. Still, we haven't been alone like this for quite some time.
You're right. Come to think of it, both you and I have gone pretty old. Since George was born, everything's gone by in the blink of an eye.
It really has. I wonder if we were too hasty in having a child. Ava's eyes looked like they were staring off into the distance. Yes, she had thought of it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Her older brother Kraus had been unable to father a child for quite some time. 6 years passed after his marriage to Natsu without any signs of pregnancy, which didn't please Kinzo at all. Ava herself had thought that. Since her name would be moved outside the Ushiromiya register when she got married anyway, it didn't matter whether a successor to the headship was born or not. And then one day, she had a heavenly revelation. Or maybe it was the whisperings of the devil that she had listened to in her greed. If she could give birth to a successor first, wouldn't she be able to remain in the Ushiromiya register? If things went well, she might have a chance to inherit the Ushiromiya family herself. When she proposed this to Hideyoshi, he had approved of it instantly. This wasn't because Hideyoshi also had greedy thoughts. For Hideyoshi, who had no close relatives, it was a chance for him to feel once more the long-forgotten thing called family. Ah, man, I'm sorry, Hideyoshi. I snapped at you, my man, but... I'm still upset at Hideyoshi, but he doesn't deserve my disdain near as much as Ava does. So when they got married, he hadn't fussed over which last name they were to keep, and had quickly agreed to have his name entered into the Ushiromiya family register. It had been easy to persuade Kinzo, but as his daughter, Ava knew Kinzo's personality well. So, by choosing the time when Kinzo was most dissatisfied with Natsuki, she was magnificently able to make him accept Hideyoshi as an adopted son-in-law. Looking at Hideyoshi, who had achieved success after starting from nothing, Kinzo might have seen a little bit of himself. He quickly grew to like Hideyoshi and approved his transfer into the Ushiromiya register. George, who would eventually become the successor to the Ushiromiya family. No, George would, okay. They had raised him strictly with that purpose in mind. He had been worth their while and had grown into a fabulous young man who wouldn't disappoint no matter where he went. That was why he had not been permitted to fall in love with a servant like Shannon. So when she learned that Shannon was dead and that the engagement was now invalid, though part of her had still been shocked by the gruesome crime, part of her had also been relieved that her dear George wouldn't be stolen by some servant girl. Bitch! God, I hate Ava.
I've hated Krasny-san since long ago. He was so full of himself, always swaggering around, so proud that he would one day become the head. So I wanted to get back at him. Was that just a childish emotion? But in the end, that emotion guided my entire life. If that had been all, then it would have been fine. But because of that emotion, I got you and George involved. I used you.
Ava, don't blame yourself for that. Hideyoshi got up and held Ava's shoulder. She could feel a warm understanding from him. You don't deserve Hideyoshi. Well, I reached the halfway point in my life long ago. But you know, I have absolutely no regrets about how I've lived my life. Not one. I think that since I've been with you, Ava, I've been able to relish an enjoyable life that other men never will. After I lost my relatives in the war, you reminded me what the warmth of family is. So I'm grateful to the Ushiromiya family. Think of it as my only one. In this life I've led with you, not a single thing's been wasted. It's really been a fun life up until today. Goddamn, she really does not deserve Hideyoshi. This man a king, alright? You know what, I understand. Hideyoshi was siding with his wife at the time because he's a king who's going to stand up for his wife, alright? Even if he doesn't necessarily agree with her in the moment, because like you said, now that they're in private, he's like, listen, babe, you went too far with that, come on. But see, unlike Kraus, during their heated debate, you know, when Nazi was getting emotional and heated, trying to, you know, defend her family and whatnot, Kraus was like, babe, fuck off. See, Hideyoshi, he's a real king. He's a real man. Steps up to the plate. Alright. Alright, you know what? I forgive Hideyoshi. He has terrible taste in women, but you know what? I forgive him. Man sticks by his family. You know what? I had respect. Ava hung her head, burying her face in Hideyoshi's chest. Probably, no one in the parlor could even imagine that this side of Ava existed. I'm the one who should be thanking you. Till today, there hasn't been a single day I've regretted being with you.
Me too. I'm so glad to have you by my side.
The two that are close. The two that are close. Look how close they're getting. Come on. Come on. I already hate it though, because if I do end up being right and these two, if something happens to these two, like physically, as in like dead, then obviously the prime suspect is going to be Nazi, because she's the one who had the biggest, you know, beef with them. So I'm already pissed. I'm both excited and not excited at all for what comes next. Because as we're nearing the dawn of a new day, you know, a new something's about to happen, and I'm already, oof. George's already a fine adult. Even if I don't look out for him, he's a man who could do his job well on his own. I wonder. On New Year's, do you want to go spend some time in the Maldives? Or this is probably Ava talking, isn't it?
Just us, no one else?
No way. I should have said good. No, that was George. I mean, Hideyoshi.
No way. Aren't you always saying that you're so busy responding to New Year's cards you don't even sleep?
None of that this New Year's. I won't read New Year's cards. I'll just stay quiet and check to see if I've won the New Year's lottery. It'd sure be nice if we won a colored TV this year.
No way. I don't want to waste time checking the lottery while in the Maldives.
But none of that either. How does it sound? Just the two of us. Taking it easy like when we were newlyweds, just before George was born.
Yes. In that case, fine.
I hear the Maldives are wonderful. An island with nothing on it, surrounded by beautiful coral reefs and cottages lined up over the water.
when we were newlyweds, you say? Starting when?
As soon as I finish up some business. I won't know till I ask the travel agency, but probably before New Year's Eve.
No way. Right now. I want to go right now.
Ava nagged his lips in a peevish yet flirtatious manner. The only sounds that filled the room were the distant voice of the announcer on the news, which Hideyoshi had left on, and the obnoxious pounding of the rain against the window. And then they fucked.